Welcome back to Clubhouse Chronicles, the place where the Central Illinois music scene gets loud, proud, and unfiltered. I'm Twit, your host with the most, ready to spin you the stories, the sounds, and the struggles behind the bands that are making waves right here in your backyard. This show is powered by our friends over at Broken Record Music Club, your favorite independent record label, bringing you music for whatever you are going through. With that, let's buckle on up because this isn't just a podcast. It's a front row ticket to the heart of your indie music scene. Today's guest is an up-and-coming Bloomington star, snapping house shows starting this past year in 2024. With every click, he tells a tale, from roaring guitars to the lead singer's wail. He's the eye of the scene, the keeper of light, turning fleeting moments into shots so tight. Give it up for the legend with the shutter, Gus Linares, the man behind Blono Archive. Welcome to the Clubhouse, Gus.
What's up? What's up?
Man, I was so excited to get you on, and before we started recording, you're so secretive about your name. It's just Blono Archive or Blono Slug Productions, and it's good to put a name with the account, I guess, in this case.
It's good because I know you like to also do like videos for this show. It's also good to put a name to the face.
For sure. It'll be a lot easier going to these shows now and being able to recognize you and know exactly what you're doing. So we got a lot of questions for you today, Gus, and I'm just excited to kind of go through this whole account that you started. For those of you that don't know, Gus runs the Blono Archive account. The name on the account is Blono Slug Productions, but at Blono Archive, and he basically does that. He archives the whole Blono DIY scene. And it's really amazing. Where I want to start, Gus, is have you always had an interest in photography and videography, or was this just something that you kind of picked up as you grew?
It's definitely something that's always been in like the back of my mind. I've always found cameras and taking videos such a like fascinating thing. I've always liked taking pictures. The only problem about taking pictures is you have no memory for on like your devices. It wasn't like a very strong passion, I would say, before college, but when I moved here to Blono, it was just something that I was just like, hey, I need to start like learning to photograph stuff for my major. I want to do like majoring in graphic communications, and a lot of that is requiring to take pictures of things that aren't out there already. And in a weird way, yeah, you might need a picture of a certain like item, but on the internet it's always just like JPEGs and stuff. So when I picked up photography, I think it was after the pop-up show that the Tally had on the 19th of August. That was when I first decided. I was just like, hey, I want to start like taking pictures of the people that I meet and the scene that is a whole as a whole. I want to take a picture of them.
When you go through your account, it really is an archive, right? Like from right when you started, it pretty much is a full record of all of the house shows in Blono. And it's really cool to see how you've progressed as a photographer and a videographer in this short amount of time, because that's crazy. August, like just picking this up only a couple months ago, really, you were really kind of thrown into the scene. But walk me through the process that really led up to the creation of the account. Obviously, you wanted to start taking pictures and capturing these people that you meet, but what made you decide in the first place to create the account?
Like I said, I made the account a couple of days after that pop-up show, but the first show that I went to, shout out to the Garage when they had their debut show at the new location. That was the very first show that I went to that was a DIY scene. Back where I was in Chicago, it was kind of like a secret. Like nobody wanted to like tell you where it was. You either had to go far out or had to know people to like get into them. So when I went to this show, I was just like, wow, I wish I knew about this stuff before I came to college. Like, I wish I knew about the DIY scene. All Whenever I would search up shows, I would only get the Castle, and the Castle is a great venue. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Castle, but you would have to pay just a little more than just going to one of these shows where you could pay like $7, $5, $10 to get in and just watch the bands play. I would When I was like in the process of moving here, I wanted to know a lot about Bloomington, and really there wasn't a lot. Like, the only thing that I had to go off was really the Blono shows, which Bridget did an interview with Ethan recently, and she said that she runs the Blono shows account. That was the only thing that I had to go off of the Blono scene. I was like sitting around one day waiting for class, and I was kind of like getting an impulse to create something on Instagram. And I didn't want to have a bunch of new people come to my old Instagram account, where it was mainly for just like basically friends from high school that know me, and just random stuff I posted. So I wanted to kind of like create a new thing. And so I was just like, why not make a dedicated account to not only documenting the scene, but also giving people a chance to witness from the outside. I feel like not a lot of people know of the scene outside of it. That's what I want. I want more people to come into the scene and to kind of like take up more projects and create new things.
An amazing scene to do that too. There's the community around it is incredible, and as I'm sure you've come to realize in your short stint there.
It is.
So you created the account, which was a great approach to kind of kick off your college career, separating, who you were in high school and now creating a new identity for yourself. Can be a really positive thing for people. When you made the page, other than highlighting the scene, did you have any other particular goals in mind, or was it just kind of supposed to be there, or has it taken on its own kind of personality as you've gone through the semester?
All of this was never what I would have expected. I never would have expected to be doing an interview like on here. I wouldn't expect people to know my name, or let alone know my account. Like, that was also one of the things that I also like didn't want people to like have my name tied to the account at first, because I was worried about how I could be perceived in certain ways. But recently I just kind of been embracing that like the whole account, and it's definitely evolved. It's definitely evolved to its own thing. At first, this account was just really a way to make friends. When I moved here, obviously I had no friends. Moving from Chicago all the way to Bloomington, 2-hour drive, only one friend, but doesn't even go to the same college as you. They actually go, well, I got a friend that goes to Wesleyan, which is pretty convenient, but still not the same college.
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner, yeah. I wanted to make more friends around the scene, and I felt like that was the only way I could try to do it, instead of just like going around and just randomly talking to people. I feel like if I created something and showed it to people, it would be a great conversation starter. I wouldn't have never thought that it would take up its own like whole thing.
Sometimes it's the things you least expect that have the biggest impact, It's been really cool because as I've grown and decided to start this podcast, I'm obviously been looking in the Blono area, the Champaign-Urbana area, the Peoria area, all in central Illinois. And your account has always been one that I go back to, especially like in 2025, we're looking to hopefully work with another band or artist. So for some bands, may not have material out there, I just go to your page and I listen to them, like the Petroleum Kelly performances that you have on your page. I like I fell in love with Petroleum Kelly, and they have zero music out. So
No, yeah, Petroleum Kelly's I really like recording their sets. I want to see them more often. Hopefully in 2025 I could see them more. Recording that performance, was it the one where the lead singer, she was like wearing the bunny ears?
yeah, it was like a Halloween kind of
Yeah,
show.
it was the Halloween show. No, yeah, that was a really cool show. I remember that. I really loved that show, and their performance was it was really good. I love a lot of the bands in the scene, like Blind Baby's with their stuff. They don't have any music out, and I recorded a couple of stuff that for them, like and I posted onto the page.
Your journey through this account to make friends and to kind of grow yourself, I could definitely relate to the being afraid to attach your name to something just because of
Yeah.
how you're perceived. I came from an athletic background, and going into music, I was so terrified of what my friends would think and what my family would think. And then at a certain point, I was just like, why should I worry about that? I'm doing something that I really enjoy, I really am passionate about. And the fact that you were able to do it, especially at 18, right? Like you're a real young guy, and it can only do wonders for you as you continue to grow and as the page grows, because I'm sure it'll grow substantially in the coming years too.
It most definitely will be growing. It's already growing at a pretty fast rate.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that a lot of people are turning to it to look at it for stuff that they missed, cool performances, and maybe get a preview of a band that they want to check out, but are kind of, should I go? Should I not go? One of the things that I really like about your profile is your distinct style and how you shoot stuff, especially like the videography. It's like this VHS style for those of you that don't know. And I feel like it's a perfect encapsulation of what DIY is in the music industry. What made you decide to shoot these videos in that format? And are you shooting it just on your iPhone and then putting a filter on it? Or are you actually using like a VHS camera or like an old camcorder?
So I get a similar question asked a lot, and it's the what camera do I use, or what filters do I put on? There's an app that I had downloaded back when I was like in a sophomore in and I've always loved retro media. Another big reason of creating the account was to preserve a lot of these performances. I'm a very big on preserving lots of media. One of my favorite passions is lost media. Yeah, I've always had a love for the VHS like filter. I've kind of had like this nostalgic thing about it since I was young. I was born in 2006. Like I shouldn't really know what VHS is, yet I'm like so well aware about like how it works, how it looks, how it's supposed to look, generational loss. When I saw that app on the App Store, I downloaded it immediately, and it was like $5 to like have like the unlimited version, and it was like a one-time pay. So I was just like, hell yeah, if I get to have all these cool perks and it's only like $5, of course I'm gonna spend like the $5. And I actually forgot about the app for a very long time. I actually deleted it off my phone for like a bit, and then when I moved here to Bloomington, was first starting the show account, I was thinking to myself, like, how am I going to record these? And then I remembered the app. I re-downloaded it and I started recording just like that. I was just like, it's really cool to like kind of mess around with. So I was just like, hey, I'll just start recording and just posting this, since I don't really have any other equipment. All I have is just my iPhone.
Best $5 you ever spent, though, I bet.
It is the best $5 I ever spent.
Like I said, the stylistic choice is so perfect, and it fits the videos so well, and the grain that it provides. Like I truthfully couldn't tell if you used like a camcorder or just your phone with an app. So it looks great, and who cares if it's an app, It looks
No,
fantastic.
no, I do. I love the app. It definitely is like the most convenient thing right now. But I do want to start working with actual camcorders. Like I've been just looking on eBay, trying to see here and there for the camcorders, seeing if they're in good quality and stuff like that. I plan on buying one soon and actually recording that way. I want to, in a weird way, I kind of want to make physical tapes of these performances, because I feel like it would be such a like weird novelty just to have for me, not even for like if other people would like to have that, I could always like, you know, record it and always like distribute it to like just people that who would want like a VHS copy of like Blind Baby or Monarch. But for me, I would just like it as a little novelty. I think they're really cool.
That would be really cool. One of my best investments, I recently got a big VHS camera off Facebook Marketplace, and it was in such good condition. This guy really took care of it, and he got a lot of use out of it. So he, you know, when he gave it to me, all I needed was a new battery and some tapes, and boom, we're on our way. And so there's like, we shoot a lot of stuff with it for Jenny. Kind of talking about the content that you release. So we've talked about like the show aspect. I thought one of the most impactful videos that you have on there is the ruling on the noise ordinance in Bloomington, and like that hearing and that gathering of the announcement. What made you want to capture that and put that on your page? It kind of detoured a little bit, but I can see the significance. So I wanted to get your input on it.
Yeah, it was a big detour to post the nuisance ordinance meeting. Obviously, when I was thinking that I posted that, I wasn't really thinking that at the time. What I was really having in mind was the fact that like so many people, you know, the new incoming freshmen, just like myself, were at risk at like losing the Blono scene, all because of a nuisance ordinance that was kind of just like really vague, and it doesn't really help at all. I wanted to make sure and see like who is the people that was voting for it, who was the people that are going against it. I wanted to take pictures of like Bridget and people who went up to talk on like Matt Boggs. I wanted to take pictures of Matt Boggs. His little input during that meeting was moving. I think when I posted that, it was mainly just to show people that I don't know. It was an interesting thing for me because it was the first even council meeting that I had even gone to. I have never gone to an actual city hall meeting or anything like that. So I was just kind of there. I videotaped it. I was just like, hey, I'll post this, getting people who weren't there, showing them what happened, showing them the update. Like it, because I know like there was like a couple people that didn't go that did want to go. So I was just like, here, I'll just record it and post it on the page so people who didn't get to see it or didn't get to go can see what happened.
Yeah, it was a very historical moment for the scene because for a time it was a lot of uncertainty about things, and for something that's been alive for so long, and I feel like it's just starting to get legs right now, for it to be hindered in any way would be a huge disservice to the scene. But everyone who managed to come out and use their voice to say their piece and keep everything in as it was super important. And I think you doing that and capturing it is so just crucial for history. Like your account is literally an archive now because it has this big event in the Central Illinois history. So it's pretty cool. I don't know if you've thought about it that way.
Obviously, for me, I was just like, hey, let's just record it for people who didn't see it. But obviously, for other people, a lot of people do see like a deeper meaning, and I do respect like anybody's deeper meaning on it. I love hearing other people's inputs on my stuff. Like I like hearing not I like hearing constructive criticism. I like hearing when people like to add inputs to my things, like saying like, hey, maybe you should do this, add this to like your stuff.
It's a good quality to have, the constant want to get better. The acceptance of criticism is always good. So just staying on the topic of the Blono archive as a whole, a lot of your work seems to just be for the sake of the scene. Obviously, you talked about how it was kind of an intro for you to meet people and make friends. But is your account just going to be to capture these shows, or are you looking to get more involved in shooting and recording specific artists, or doing this as like a videographer, photographer for people for eventually money?
So I did think about that. at one point. Like I did think about like what I would do with the actual account, how in what direction I wanted to kind of steer it. Because right now I was leaving it on kind of like a autopilot, just kind of letting it go with whatever. But now I actually got to steer it from not crashing into something. So um
That's a good way to put it.
yeah, like I just left it on autopilot and I was just like, yeah, I'll figure it out later. And now actually got to figure out like eventually like, oh, hey, maybe we should start like building up like where we want to go. I do want to keep the account about the scene. I really want to like record just any bands that come into town and play or whatever shows that I go see. But I also wouldn't mind working with other people. Like, I had Venus Overdrive email me about they had liked some of the photos and videos I took for their set at at Stumbling Block. I thought about it and I was just like, hey, what if I actually did make a career out of this? What if I did start making connections with like, prominent figures in the scene and start building my way up to being like either a pretty well-known photographer or a videographer.
It's a good plan, man. I mean, you have quality stuff, so I'm not surprised someone has reached out to you, though. I'm sure it had to feel really good getting that email, and even though you weren't necessarily ready to take the step, like it had to be reassuring that you're doing something right.
It was like a reassuring thing. Like when I opened up that email from them and it was like, we really loved your stuff. We look forward to working with you again anytime in the future. And I told them that anytime they're in town, just let me know and I'll go record your set. And it's true with any band. I haven't really like said this out because I don't want to like pressure bands, but I don't mind recording full sets for bands and then like having them use the footage for something. I wouldn't mind recording for people or holding. Actually, funny enough, I was supposed to be one of the camera holders for Noisebleed at the Tally, but I was out of town. So I didn't get to be the camera holder. I assured Ty, one of the co-founders of the Tally, the next time that they do something similar to Noisebleed, that I will for sure be one of the people holding the camera.
It's good that your name's already in circulation, dude. I mean, been there for 6 months, not even, which is awesome. So just to see the progress, or to hear the progress, because all I see is the page, but to hear the progress from you is really cool to see how you've kind of taken this on and leveled yourself up slowly but surely. And there's definite direction and there's definitely momentum at your back right now. And it's really good to see because it's also good for the scene.
The scene is just, it holds a really special place right now. It definitely is one, like going to that first show at the garage, going to the first Tally show or seeing the first Tally show, seeing Monarch for the first time. I would say those definitely those are like defining moments in my life now. And I feel like another defining moment would be the day that I started uploading my videos to Blono Archives. I would say that that day that I posted was a very significant day. I feel like for me, in a weird way, it's both just a normal random day that I started posting, and it's a significant day that it was the first day as Blono Archives.
Yeah, I'm sure that day will hold meaning for you for the rest of your life. And that's always a good feeling, dude, to feel that you're on the right path and know this is where you're supposed to be. That's one of the best feelings in the world. And it's good that the scene brings it out of you.
One of the things that I actually wanted to say is that if you go onto my account, the Blono Archive show, and you go all the way down to the page, you'll see that the first couple shows aren't even from me. They're from other people in the scene. Like Kodak Khan, John's photos, he recorded a couple. There's one footage of Harrison Gordon back when I wasn't even in the scene. That was somebody that I know recorded and sent it to me and said like, hey, you should put this on the archive account. And I feel like I did stray away from like asking people to send me their videos, but I'll never like say no to people sending me their footage and be like, hey, can I put this on the account? If somebody ever wanted to do that, I'll be like, sure, I'll credit you. I'll say what band it is. I'll credit you. Like if you want If you don't want credit, it's fine. If you do want credit, that's also perfect. I just love getting people's names out there, really.
And that's what the scene's all about. And it just is a testament to your character too, as even being someone new and your page being new, you're still allowing other creators to have some shine too, which is awesome. Kind of going back to your page, Gus, if you go on the Blono archive page and you check your bio, you see that you have a few things coming soon. It's like music and potentially a label. Can you tell us a little about what you might have planned and what has drawn you to that side of things from where you initially started in photography and videography?
Yeah, photography and videography, I saw them as hobbies. The label and music are also, in a way, hobbies that I kind of dropped in the past. I've always loved music. I've always wanted to contribute to the music scene and everything. I've always wanted to make my own music. I've always wanted to play in bands. I've always wanted to promote people who are up and coming, even big names. Like I love telling people about Monarch and Heaving and Day Shift. I love talking about the bands in the scene and telling people to go check them out. Like I'm constantly playing music from the scene and in my headphones. I've always liked picking up new hobbies. So I've wanted to include, making music in there, as with like any bands that I would ever join. I would link them in like the highlights saying like, hey, this is a band that I'm a part of. Or if I ever did want to do a record label, I would, obviously figure out how to go through with the steps with that. But they're just like secondary hobby. They're just like hobbies that I love doing.
It's good to have the interest in other aspects of the industry and not just one. I will say the label part of it is very rewarding, but it is a lot. Like I had a conversation. There's another record label. Shout out to Pretzel Records and Julie. I had a meeting with them last week and we were kind of talking about that very thing where, just when you figure out something, there's so much more that you have to like, you can learn and go into. So it's very rewarding. So if you do end up getting into it, be prepared. It's a lot of work, but it is a lot of fun because you get to be around great artists and especially in a scene like this, like you're surrounded by fantastic talent. So besides like the music and this interest in your label, what else can people expect this next year in 2025 from the Blono archive?
Definitely a bunch of pictures. Definitely a bunch of pictures. Bunch
No
of
kidding.
no kidding. The shows that are going to be coming up soon, at the Tally, the Frontega show, and then the Bruxism show that's playing the day after. Like I'm gonna be nonstop taking pictures. So expect a lot of pictures, expect a lot of videos. I don't know. I kind of do things on impulse. I like to just kind of like throw things around. I was throwing around the idea of making a YouTube account for Blono Archives and putting these videos, because they started at first, they were like 30 seconds to a minute long. Then they started getting a minute long to 2 minutes. Then they started going from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. And I'm now being in like the scene. I wanted to start recording full sets, which would require like 18-20 minutes or like, either more or less than. So I was dabbling in the idea of a YouTube channel. So maybe that.
Spoken like a true creative, just doing things on impulse. But it's all good, dude. That sounds awesome. I think a YouTube page would be really cool so that people can go see full sets and then you could just post clips on the archive page, and then you have a long form and a short form version of the archive, which is really cool. These next two questions are our last two questions. And these are questions that I ask every guest that we have on the show, but I like hearing everyone's answers because everyone's answer is a little bit different and they're amazing. So this last question is, what is your favorite part of the Central Illinois music scene? It's a pretty loaded question, but do your best.
Definitely the people. It's meeting everybody, talking to everybody, getting to know people's experiences, getting to know what drives them to make their creative passions. Talking to Don of Blind Baby, I like talking to him at the shows. Talking to Ty about how they and Will started the tally. Talking to John or Ryan on how they got started with photography. I love talking to people. It's always been a passion. It's always been like a thing of mine. I've just never been able to shut up, really. I just love to hear people's experience. And I also love the how Central Illinois, it's kind of like they're kind of close by the music scenes like Peoria and Springfield and Champaign. Like they're drives, but you can relatively get to them. That's another thing maybe for 2025's Blono archives, going to more out of Blono shows, because there are lots of great venues in Bloomington and out of Bloomington that I want to take pictures and record too. I like the traveling part. I actually like going out of Bloomington and going to see shows in Peoria or Champaign. And I like meeting the people from different areas, obviously from like Peoria and Champaign, Springfield, Peak. And I love meeting and talking to people. It's one of my favorite things.
You're going to mess around and start the Central Illinois archive and not just the Blono archive. But there are so many great places in Urbana-Champaign. There's so many great house venues, and there's a ton of vibrancy and life in this scene, and it's everywhere down there. So you can't go wrong.
Everybody has their scene, and I just want to go see the scene in kind of almost everywhere. I like to travel and I like to take pictures. So wherever I am, if there is a music scene, I'll probably take a picture of it and post it. Obviously, my love will be always for Blono, because I would consider like a new home to me. I don't often do pictures of, Champaign or Peoria, but whenever I do, they're more like a specialty. You never really get to see them. You get to see a lot of Blono, but you don't get to see that much of Champagne.
Variety is the spice of life. So throwing in a little treat for everyone is always good. Our last question, and arguably the most controversial question I'll ask, is who is your favorite artist or band in the scene right now? Now, you've mentioned Blind Baby a couple times. You've mentioned a variety of different artists. Everyone is great in this scene, but everyone has a favorite. So who is yours?
Who is my all-time favorite in this scene? Or
Just
is it
say,
like, or
who's
can
your
I say
favorite right now?
who's my favorite? Well, I would say band that I really got started with is Monarch. I will always say that Blind Baby was the very first band that I saw in the DIY scene, and I loved that show. That was one of my favorite shows. But I felt like when I saw Monarch perform at the Tally, it was just like something clicked in my brain. It was just like, this is where you need to belong. You need to be here with these people, in this community. At the time, obviously, I was just like, well, how the hell am I gonna do that? How am I supposed to be friends with these people? But over time I figured it out, and I'm really happy that I get to see all of these bands. And I have a lot of favorite bands. The whole music scene in general is kind of like, in a weird way, like my favorite artist. I like hearing what people are coming up with. But I would say my top three would be Monarch, Blind Baby, and Mulch. I like Mulch. I've seen them play a couple times. Cole is a great singer. Blind Baby, I've seen them plenty of times. I love the mimes when they come out there. I love Adon's creative writing skills when it comes to the songs that he performs. Their guitarist and their bassist and the drummer. I love Blind Baby as a whole. And Monarch has just always shown me the support. I just absolutely love Monarch. When I first listened to their album, it was just playing on repeat that whole first week. I was just nonstop listening to them, talking to them outside of their band, talking to Blaine or Adon or Cole, like at these shows. It's really nice to connect with these people.
So it's funny, I had Monarch on here a couple weeks ago, And when I was interviewing Blaine said something really funny, and he's like, I just love Nirvana because it does something to the adolescent mind. And that whole time you were talking about them, it made me think Monarch just does something to the adolescent mind. So shout out our friends at Monarch. Keep crushing
See,
it.
that's what that's what I had told Blaine and Monarch. I was just like, you guys should do some more Nirvana songs. This was before I kind of knew that they were a Nirvana cover band, but you know, whenever I would listen to Monarch and I was trying to like describe them, I was just like, they're like the new version of Nirvana. That's like the only way I can describe. I feel like they can open up a lot of eyes when if they ever get big, and I hope they get big. I hope everybody in this scene gets big. Well, one of the other bands that I really want to see get big is Day Shift. I want to see Day Shift get really big soon.
All fantastic options. And yeah, Monarch, our friends at Monarch are great. We love them. Their Fever Dream is just that, a fever dream. So if you haven't listened to it, make sure you stream it on your preferred streaming service. It's got a little bit for everyone. It's got a little Nirvana sounding stuff. So heavy grunge. We got some metal type stuff. We got some poppy stuff. So yeah, this end just slowly turned into like an ad for Monarch. But also shout out J Shift. They're fantastic. Their one song on streaming is incredible. So I hope we get some new music from them in 2025.
Shout out to all the bands that are coming from the Blono scenes, and shout out to like, you know, just all the bands in the Central Illinois scene. I hope a lot of them get big. Like, I was mainly sticking to Blono scene, since, you know, obviously it's the Blono archive. But one of the bands that I actually do really love is Heaving from Peoria.
They're really good.
They're one of my favorites, and I got to see them at Mount Moon Fest when they performed in, I think it was like in September. I remember going to that show. I loved that show. That was another really cool one.
Well, I hope all these bands blow up too. That's kind of the purpose for this podcast, and the goal of my record label at least is to get this scene popping and get the people in it seen, which is, I'm saying scene a lot now, but that's okay. Listen to your local bands, people. Listen to your Central Illinois bands. There's so much talent here.
Support local bands.
Support local bands. Like I said, that was the last question. Thank you so much for coming on, Gus. I really appreciated getting to know you as a person and getting to know the story behind this mystery account that has been running rampant throughout this scene. And thank you so much for the content you post and highlighting all these amazing bands.
Well, it's such an honor to be on here again. Like I said before we started, this is like the first ever interview that I'm doing, and so I feel very honored to be on here and actually like starting to be a part of the community and the scene and everybody. I just like making new friends, and I hope that now that people know my face and know my name, that I can make even more friends in this scene.
I have no doubt about it that you'll make plenty of friends, and that this will not be your last interview, because there's nothing but great stuff ahead for you, Gus. And again, thank you for coming on. Be sure to follow Gus and the Blono Archive on Instagram to keep up with all the big things coming this year, all the shows, all the madness. The handle is at Blono Archive, BLONO Archive. And just like that, that's our show. You've been hanging out with Clubhouse Chronicles, where the sounds are hot, the stories are hotter, and the vibes absolutely off the charts. Don't forget to hit up at Broken Record Music Club on all socials for all the updates, news, and more about this podcast and our label and our wonderful artists that are going to have releases coming out. If you're in the Blono scene, we got an announcement coming soon, so I'd be excited. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you, first off. Second off, please make sure to subscribe and keep up with the cool video content that we're going to be rolling out throughout the year. We're really excited about it, so hopefully you'll tune in. Until next time, keep it loud, keep it proud, and remember, Central Illinois is where the music magic happens. Peace!